So we are back for this week. We took the last couple of weeks off because it's December, and if you're a university student, you know December equals hell. So we were both having a fun time doing that. But now we're back, and what did I do? What did I come back to see after 2 weeks off? But horror of all horrors, we missed picking weeks 14 and 15. But we picked week 13, and unfortunately, while I had a decent record at 10 and 6, Simon went 15 and fucking 1, and is now in the lead.
How the hell did that happen?
This is the
Who's
biggest
responsible?
disaster.
I'm heading to Vegas.
Disaster of all time.
Yeah.
I need to go like 16 and 0 on my picks this week to make up for it.
Yeah,
oh my
you
God.
might have to. Holy. I have no explanation. I might be cheating and I didn't even know about it. Somebody's been giving me the cards. I'm counting cards or something. I'm not even quite sure, but you know what? I'm going to keep doing the same thing because apparently it's working. All you bettors out there, I got your backs. You keep watching because apparently it just works.
He's got the hot hand, so I mean, you might want to put $1 million down on it, like that one guy did on the Eagles. The guy put like $3.1 million on the Eagles to win. You should do that, but for all of Simon's picks.
Yeah, every single one, $3 million on each and every single one.
Yes, guaranteed money.
All right, well, are we ready to get going? Denver Broncos, Los Angeles Chargers. All right,
okay,
go nuts.
Let's get to it. Okay, it's been a while since we've done this, so I got to get back in the flow of it here. Broncos Chargers. It's interesting because I don't really know. Both of these teams have felt kind of a bit like fraud teams at one point or another. They're kind of in the same position where they're on the kind of they're solidly in the wild card spots, but I'm not confident in either of them to last past wild card weekend. They've had seasons that have been kind of above expectations, but I don't know what my expectations are for them going forward other than to make the playoffs and lose in the first round. Both of them kind of had iffy games that the last week. The Broncos were able to turn it on in the second half and beat the Colts. But if Jonathan Taylor doesn't fumble on the goal line, who knows what happens in that one. But the Chargers just got their doors blown off by the Bucs. I'm going to go with the Broncos in this one, I think. I'm more confident in their defense to kind of buoy them when the offense isn't playing very well. Like that Colts game, Bo Nix threw a bunch of interceptions, but their defense got a pick six, kept them through it. Chargers defense is good, but that was really alarming against a good Tampa Bay team.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this one. I'm going to take the Broncos as well. I agree with you. I do think it's really close. This is definitely one that can go either way. But just based on the stats that I quickly pulled up, the Broncos are scoring a lot more efficiently than the Chargers are this year. Similar offenses, similar defenses. I'm going to take the team that's just more efficient in general, and especially with a game that's more or less a coin flip.
Yep, and yeah, it's a very interesting one. We can move on to another AFC West team though. Texans at Chiefs. This is a Saturday game. We're into the Saturday NFL games. Oh boy, loving this.
11 a.m. on a Saturday too.
Yeah, 10 a.m. for me here, so I'm going to be waking up early on my Saturday. But yeah, no. So it's a good ass Saturday slate too. Texans, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens. Probably Texans, maybe not as much anymore, but some of the top teams in the AFC. This one's really interesting because I think the Texans have fallen off in the last few weeks. I mean, losing to the Titans and getting to the point where you're really not confident in them to win any game, even when it's against kind of a subpar team, barely squeaking by the Jags. And the Chiefs, I mean, they've been doing this kind of shit all season where they're not necessarily living up to expectations, and they might have to do it without Mahomes, given that Mahomes sustained an ankle injury at the end of the Browns game. I think even with Mahomes in, I might take the Texans because I'm really not confident in either, but I feel like I'm more confident in the Texans at this point, even though the Chiefs are 13 and 1 at this point. They haven't shown me anything that prove that they're at that kind of level again. And even if there's a chance of Mahomes being out, I don't want to take that. Give me the Texans.
Okay. All right, I'll go on. I will go on the other side. I did take a peek. Mahomes is questionable as of the Monday before the Saturday game, obviously. I am still going to go Chiefs. Fuck it. Why not? Let's see what happens. Roll them dice. I do think that they will beat the Texans with Mahomes. Like you pointed out, the Texans just haven't not been on a terrific roll. This is the kind of game where I can just see them winning if they have Mahomes. If they don't have Mahomes, they're going to really need some bullshit to pull out this game. But you never know. I don't know. Is their backup still... who was it?
Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz.
Sure. I trust Carson Wentz. Sure, why not?
I mean, maybe it's like a weird mirror dimension thing because Carson Wentz was having his MVP season, leading the Eagles to the Super Bowl, and then he got hurt, and Nick Foles took over. Maybe it's his time. He takes over at the end of the season, and leads the Chiefs to the Super Bowl.
Considering it's just a high ankle sprain as well, he's gonna end up stealing the spot permanently for the rest of the year because of how well
exactly.
he does against the Texans.
Give him all that money.
There you
all
go.
That money.
There you go. Mahomes would do it voluntarily too. He would just hand over the contract. He'd just go like, "Buddy, you deserve it."
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
We can move on to also get divisional matchups this week. We'll move on to Steelers, Ravens, another Saturday game, and another good one.
Why don't
the
they
Steelers
put one of these in the evening? That's a serious question I have.
Yeah.
11 and 2:30. Why? What's the point?
It might be because the evening is taken up by the college football playoff. That would be my only.
You know what?
Indiana Notre Dame game. That might be it. I don't know if they thought that far ahead, but that would make sense. But yeah, I don't know. This would be a good matchup. I might even choose to watch this over the college football playoff at this point because it's a good divisional matchup.
Yeah.
Both teams have kind of faltered at points. The Steelers, I mean, they played it close against the Eagles score-wise, but it never really seemed like they were as close as the score indicated. The Ravens, I mean, you beat up on a Giants team, but what does that really say about you? I believe in this Ravens team a little bit more, especially because George Pickens, it seems like he was out the last game, and it seems like he's going to miss considerable time. And I think their offense really loses a dimension with that, even though Russ has been playing fantastic. Not having that number one receiver is a big deal because they don't have a lot of depth past him. So especially in Baltimore, I'm going to take the Ravens in this one, even though I really like that Steelers team.
He is questionable, as far as I'm seeing. So, yeah. So you're taking the Ravens then?
Yep.
I will probably join you on that one. The Steelers look significantly more beat up. I have just been more confident in the Ravens pretty much all season long. I think they are just a better team in general. Despite having a worse record, I would still bet on them. And yeah, especially if the Steelers are missing Pickens, that's not necessarily a good look for them. They're probably going to struggle without him. But I mean, you never know. This is another one that's a coin flip. It's funny, at the beginning of the year we definitely had more of these close games, and then it seemed like in the last few weeks we were having a lot of blowouts. This week we've got a few good matchups.
Yeah, no, there's some good ones to start off this week. But if we want to move on to a not good matchup, and maybe where this schedule going to start to take a nosedive, Giants at Falcons. And I mean, this for me would be the time to pick the Falcons being upset if it was any team other than the Giants. Because the Falcons don't look very good. As we're recording on Monday during the Monday Night Football game. The Falcons are winning, but against the Raiders and barely. They just have not looked very good. Kirk Cousins has been kind of trash, which I think is kind of spoken for by the fact that we're in the fourth quarter. They've only scored 15 points against the Raiders. He's not played very well, and it's really concerning to me. However,
Michael Penix might not have to have a warm ass for much longer.
I know. See, there's been chatter. That our favorite guy might get the starting nod. But it doesn't really matter who's at quarterback. They could trot out they could trot out the corpse of Matt Ryan, and they'd probably still be better than whoever the Giants put out there at quarterback. Tommy DeVito injured, Drew Lock injured. Daniel
far do you think
Jones
Matt
fucked up
Ryan can throw
Minnesota.
football at this point?
Further than Tim Boyle, who's probably going to get the
Yeah.
start for the Giants. Give
Oh,
me the
there you go.
Falcons in the
Yeah.
ugliest game you've ever seen.
No,
If you like quarterback play, don't turn this one on.
No, I definitely agree with you, and am with you. Even if they are just barely pulling it by the Raiders, I mean, it's the Giants, guys. They don't even have Daniel Jones anymore. What the heck? What the heck are we doing here? If the Falcons don't pull out a win, even with the corpse of Kirk Cousins, then yeah, no, then absolutely put Penix in. No doubt in my mind. Like if you lose this game, move to 6-8 on the year. What do you have to lose at that point? Try out Penix. See what happens.
Yeah. No, we got to see our guy out there.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's ready.
He is
You
ready.
can see him down there.
Have you seen
He's so
how
ready.
ready that man's ass is? It's trained. It's ready to go. It's sat behind a veteran.
His ass has never been warmer.
Let him cook.
Let him cook. Speaking of letting somebody cook, we've got this Arizona Cardinals Carolina Panthers matchup, and now because we've been away from the podcast for a while, we haven't really gotten to talk about the Panthers' renaissance behind Bryce Young, who has been completely rejuvenated and looks like a totally different quarterback after returning from being benched. I believe in Bryce Young. And now all of you out there, all of the haters and the doubters will see his performance against the Cowboys and say, wow, that team got blown out by the Cowboys. I guess that was all fake. It wasn't. Keep pounding, baby. I'm taking the Panthers here. I believe in the Panthers. I watched this Cardinals team get destroyed by the Seahawks multiple weeks in a row. I watched them. I mean, they beat the Patriots, but what does that really tell you about anything? I don't have much belief in this Cardinals team, and I have a strange belief in Bryce Young and what this not very good Panthers team can do. Give me the Panthers in Carolina. They're going to get a meaningless win, but you know what? Fuck it. Keep pounding Bryce Young forever.
Yeah, they can still make the playoffs with 11 wins, I believe. I'm gonna go with the. I'm not gonna go with Carolina. I can't do it, man. They're averaging almost 30 points allowed per game. Not happening. I don't care if Bryce Young is scoring every touchdown that he can. I'm going with the Cardinals here. I don't know. They're just a better team. Who knows? I haven't watched any Panthers football in the last little bit, so it could totally just be a past bias from what I've seen from them in the before. I think the Cardinals are a better team. I don't know. Who knows? This is a shit bowl. I don't necessarily care about it. I won't be watching, regardless.
If we ignore the most recent Cowboys game, which wasn't close, after coming off of their bye week, let's just extend it to their last 4 games before then. They won 2 straight games. Saints, Giants had their bye week. Only lost to the 12 and whatever Chiefs by 3 on a last-second field goal.
Right.
Only lost to the in the playoffs division-leading Bucks by 3, and only lost to the 12-2 Eagles because Xavier Legette dropped a game-winning touchdown pass. I believe, baby. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. They can still do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Speaking of the team that can't still do it, let's move on to the Chicago Bears, who traded that Bryce Young pick. And it's really strange how perception can change over time. Not to say that Bryce Young trade was good for the Panthers still, because it was obviously still terrible. But the optimism in Carolina after the last couple of weeks, the Bears have never been more down bad. Speaking as of right now, on Monday night, I believe they're getting just completely dumpstered by the Vikings. 27-6. And that looks even better than the performance they had the week before, where they just got completely shit on by the Niners, 40-10 or whatever. After firing Matt Eberflus, which was, by the way, the right decision, after that terrible clock mismanagement against, the Lions, the team they're playing this week, it was completely the right move to fire him, because you can't make that kind of a decision and keep your job. However, I think when you elevate Thomas Brown to coach, who is a good coach, but he was the passing game coordinator 2 weeks ago. He went from the passing game coordinator to the offensive coordinator to the head coach in the span of like 4 weeks. Like
Holy.
I don't know. You put Vince Lombardi or Bill Belichick in that spot, and I still think they lose both of those games. And then you go into Detroit, a Detroit team that's going to be angry after losing their second game of the season. Give me a break. Oh my God, Lions by 50.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. It's the Bears and it's the Lions. If you're picking the Bears here, I don't know what the hell you're doing. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a bad game. And yeah, no, that's hilarious that that guy has changed jobs 3 times in the last 4 weeks. That dude's having a hell of a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he's getting paid well on top of all that. Because he
better be.
Yeah, he's about to, in his coaching debut, he is about to get the worst beating known to man. This is gonna be be interesting.
He has gotten the worst beatings known to man in the last couple games, and we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah.
Probably more of the same.
Yeah, I mean it's the Lions. They should blow them out. I mean
they're gonna take out their frustrations by having like Penei Sewell flip it back to Dan Skipper, the other offensive lineman, and toss like a 50-yard touchdown bomb to Jared Goff. Like,
absolutely,
they're gonna pull out some what I want to see. Holy shit!
I want to see Jared Goff running deep routes.
Yes,
it's not truly a blowout until I see that.
Yes, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Jared Goff running a streak. Let's see it.
Speaking of a guy who probably could run a streak and do pretty good, I bet, Anthony Richardson. It was kind of an interesting game for the Colts because they went up against the Broncos, and I think that was kind of their last real chance at the playoffs, in my opinion, was to beat that Broncos team and kind of get a leg up in that race. But they didn't, even though they had a pretty commanding lead. I believe they were up 13-0 at one point and could have gone up 20-7, but Jonathan Taylor dropped the ball at the goal line. Not great. But I still think this Colts team is really good, even if they kind of completely just like lost the plot halfway through that Denver game. I think Tennessee is just kind of a disaster at this point. You look at the final score with them against the Bengals, and you're like, oh, like, you know, it was within 10 points. It wasn't. So that last touchdown that the Titans scored within the last seconds, and the Bengals kind of had this the whole time. And against a very bad Bengals defense, they only managed 27 points. Will Levis got pulled. Yeah, no, I'm going with the Colts here, even though they didn't look fantastic in Denver.
Yeah, this should be a game they just should win. At this point in the year, are they still fighting for a playoff spot officially? Like, can they still make it in?
Yeah, they can still make it in. Anything's possible.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm figuring too. I think they just have more to play for at this point in the year. The Titans are at this point looking quite a few months down the road.
They are officially eliminated.
Yeah. Oh, really? Are they? No shot. I'm gonna take the Colts. They should win this game. I mean, there shouldn't be a lot standing in their way either. If they do lose this game, if it doesn't outright eliminate them, it should. It should. I don't know. This should just be an easy win for the Colts.
Simon, I remember when you had integrity.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
I do too.
That's all I'll say. I remember when when Titans fans could at least look forward to one thing each week, and that was your support of the Mayo Man. But now he's benched. You no longer support the Mayo Man.
The Mayo Man's coming for me. He's inflicted illness on me for my betrayal.
As he should.
Yeah.
As he should. Where's the integrity? Shame. Speaking of shame, fuck the Rams. Oh my God, fuck the Rams. I hate the Rams so much.
They're playing the Jets. I feel like this is like the battle of your two least favorite teams. I guess throw the 49ers in there for a three-way battle, and it'd be pretty interesting.
Well, yeah, my football game from hell was played on last Thursday night. The Rams and the Niners combined for 0 touchdowns and play the most ugly brand of football ever. And of course, the one time I cheer for the Niners, which just like hurts me to say, they lose. So they can't even win right, you know? Like when I want them to win, they can't even win right. But fuck the Rams for taking the playoff spot from us currently at this point. I'm really cheering hard for the Jets, obviously. I mean, they looked better last week, But the Rams, as much as I hate to admit it, have kind of been on a different kind of tear. And I think at this point, from a Seattle fan's perspective, I think the Rams are going to win out the rest of the way. And the only chance Seattle has to take that spot is to win out as well and then beat the Rams in the last week of the season. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. I don't feel good about it. I hope, oh God, this hurts to say. I hope Aaron Rodgers pulls it out, but no, I don't feel good about it.
Yeah. This should be a game the Rams should win fairly easily, too. It's so odd. Like, I really don't get what happened with the Jets here. And I know, I'm sure people have been saying that all year long. Like, they've got it, like, it's felt like they were a game away from turning it around for so long, and then I look at TSN and they're 4-10, and I'm just sitting here going, "What the hell happened, guys?" Like, where'd the year go? I mean, it's odd because when you look at their roster, I just think to myself, like, they should be able to beat the Rams. They can do it. They can upset it. But I've thought that all year long, and I'm gonna stop making that mistake. I'm gonna join you over there on the Rams. This should just be. This is another game where there's a little bit of me that's just going like, maybe. Maybe the Jets can do it. They won't. They won't do it, guys. There's no Christmas miracle. Santa is dead. The Rams are going to pummel the Jets. It's just what's going to happen.
It shouldn't be particularly close. We'll move on to a game that hopefully is closer. This looks like a good matchup here. Eagles at Commanders. Another good divisional matchup this point in the year. Eagles are on an insane hot streak. I don't know how many they've won in a row officially at this point. I think it's 10 for the longest streak in franchise history. Very impressive. And they keep, I've had doubt in the Eagles since their collapse last year, but they've really put together some inspiring wins, beating the Ravens, beating the Steelers, beating the Rams, beating the Commanders. Like, these are all legitimate playoff teams that they've just completely gone over and crushed. Like, that Steelers game, again, wasn't particularly close. The Ravens game, I mean, the score looks closer than it actually was. The Eagles have been playing great. The Commanders, on the other hand, have kind of cooled down. They're not playing poorly, but they've cooled since their hot start to the season. And I think the Eagles take this one. I don't know who's going to be able to beat them at this point, other than maybe the Lions. I think, and every game is still huge for the Eagles at this point because they're within striking distance of the Lions for the number 1 seed. So who knows? We may see some shifting in the standings at the end of the year. I think the Eagles stay hot and take this one.
If the Commanders win, does that officially take the Eagles out of the running for the top spot?
No, because the Eagles and Lions are tied with their record right now.
Oh, okay.
The only reason the Lions have the number 1 seed as of right now is tiebreaker reasons.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I'm looking at it right now. Washington lost their first game, 26-18 between them and the Eagles. This is such an odd series for the Eagles to outright sweep. Like, it feels like this should go one each. That's just the way that it feels to me. And I get it that the Eagles have been on an insane tear, but there's a little bit of me that's telling me to go with the Commanders, and I'm going to trust it. I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to say their streak ends here tonight, and they move to a record of 12-3.
Wow. There we go. Okay, I think I've got what I need to overtake the standings now. I mean, I get a little bit worried when we both go on the same side because I need to make up some ground here.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. For a lot of these, we are going on the same side. I have to give you 1 or 2, or you can give me a 1 or 2 here, but you never know.
No, I mean, I've already taken the easy ones, like picking the Panthers. I think that's a guaranteed win. Speaking of guaranteed wins, the Bengals. Oh boy.
Oh, here they come. It's the boys.
So I haven't been. You know what's great, Bengals. You know what's great. Like, I'm about to lose my shit on this team. When we stop doing the podcast, you go and rip off 2 wins when it doesn't count. Of course, I would have picked it both times, but you had to go and make it so it didn't count. You know what? Fuck you. I'm never picking you again. No, you know what? Your offense looks really good. This isn't
Oh.
like, I don't know, it's a really bad Browns team, and Jameis is gonna throw like 5 picks if he
What's
even
the
starts.
saying
He got
about
benched in the
addicts and
last game.
relapsing? Like what's
I
that
mean,
saying?
like I just gotta take another hit. Like Joe Burrow's got a Batmobile now.
Oh,
Like
that's.
uh,
Did he
T
get it?
Higgins
I
and
thought he
Jamar
just
Chase
ordered it.
are.
I feel like you
He's
can't start.
ordering.
Okay, well then he doesn't
He's
officially
ordered it,
have
but
it.
it's
Until he drives to the game in the Batmobile, I don't give a shit if it's street legal or not. Until he does it, the Batmobile
that's
is not
true.
a factor in the football game.
That's true, but it affects the aura. And I mean that receiver duo, Jamar Chase and T Higgins is looking great. I don't know. You know what, Bengals? You've earned my trust back.
Oh
You're
yeah.
gonna win these next 3 games, and you're going to the playoffs. And my Super Bowl pick ain't dead yet. Give me the Bengals.
I know they're 6-8. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Dreams never die. Yeah, I don't know. I really want to pick the Browns for the memes, but I don't think I can. I don't think I can do it, man. It's funny because you're acting like it's a controversial pick. The Bengals are gonna beat the brakes off of the Browns. It shouldn't be close. Like if they do find a way to lose this game, not only is there no way that they make the playoffs, at least in my books, there is no way they deserve to. They should beat the Browns here without a shadow of a doubt. As for the next 2 or 3 games, we'll see what happens, I guess.
I have belief. You go against the Broncos in a couple weeks,
I
and
think
that'll be a big one.
The Broncos beat them.
I don't know. I have faith because if you beat the Broncos, then the door is open. That's all I'll say. The door is open.
All right.
Let's not talk about the Steelers week 18. That's not fun. Anyway, speaking of not fun, every so often as a Seahawks fan, you get to some games where it's just like the depression hits you, and you're like, you know what? I don't think I want to watch football anymore. And that was this Sunday night game against the Packers. Not only did the Seahawks get humiliated on a scale that I haven't seen since the Buffalo game, and I didn't think I'd see that again in a while, but Geno, our cornerstone, as many people are realizing, and sidebar here, to all the Geno haters who are like, you know what, Geno sucks, let's put in Sam Howell. Well, now you saw what happened when we put in Sam Howell. Geno's carrying this corpse of a team on his back. You put in Sam Howell and he goes like 4 for 20 and throws like 5 picks or whatever it was. So fuck that. If Geno doesn't start against the Vikings, we're completely fucked. Like there's no way in hell. And we need this game, so that's rough. Early indications are looking like he will likely be good to go, which takes a real weight off my heart. So I don't know. It's hard to be confident in this team after what just happened against the Packers. I've still got some goodwill from that 4-game win streak they ripped off, but I don't know. This is the season, though.
Are
like,
you
if
sure
lose,
that Geno's it's looking good? Are you sure on that?
It is looking good. The prognosis is good.
Okay.
Simon, you don't think I have been updating my Twitter every 5 minutes to see if Geno is okay?
You know what? I'll back off. All right.
I have put Geno on my mind ever since he went down. I've been thinking about him 24/7. He has come into my dreams, and I've had to make sure his knee is okay.
All I'm saying
is
I'm looking at questionable right now.
I was looking at the Seattle talk radio where Mike McDonald was talking about the texts he was getting from Geno Smith. That's how deep into this I'm getting. He's saying he's optimistic, so I'm optimistic. But I've already taken too long. I'm not picking the Seahawks though, because I don't know if people haven't seen this. I have a whole thing where if I pick the Seahawks, they lose, and they really need to win this. So I'm picking the Vikings because the Seahawks need to win this so bad. Please
and I'm
don't
picking the
blow
Vikings
this,
because the
Seattle.
Seahawks are going to lose. All right, next one.
I give you like no time to breathe on these Seahawks ones.
Okay. Trust me, it makes for better TV.
Well, yeah, I can talk about the Seahawks for hours and like I'll run out of breath before I stop talking about the Seahawks. Anyways, Patriots-Bills, I don't need to spend much breath on this matchup. The Bills look like a absolute destructor. I don't know what happened against the Rams. That was just a weird-ass game where the Bills' defense looked like complete and utter shit. But they came out and they stopped a good Lions offense. And,
Yeah.
in a game that was a potential Super Bowl preview, the Bills not only won, but they looked dominant doing so. And other than that blip against the Rams, which, I mean, it's not like the Rams are a bad team, they've been fantastic.
Nope.
The Patriots, on the other hand, have not. I don't think this is going to be particularly close. Definitely picking the Bills in this one, especially in Buffalo.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this one's not close at all. I agree with you. Bill's absolutely going to pull this one out. You don't beat the Lions and then lose to the Patriots. That doesn't happen. That's not allowed. You can't confuse all of us people picking the games every week with that type of back-to-back performances. I just refuse to believe that something like that could possibly happen. This one's a lock.
Uh, Speaking of a matchup, I don't think you can lock this matchup, but not because these teams are particularly good.
You'd have to walk me
Just
to a
because
chair to watch it, that's for sure.
Yeah, there you go. That's where the lock in this game is.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the quarterback battle of the ages? Desmond Ritter versus Mac Jones. Ooh,
Holy.
yeah, give it to me. Mac Jones doing his little like little fun little first down dances. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's got some sort of confidence imbued in him, even with that 4 touchdown to 7 interception ratio. Oh God, if you willingly watch this game, like I don't know, like what kind of masochism bullshit is that?
The only person watching this
is
game is Shadur Sanders.
Yeah, seriously. And then when the Raiders inevitably lose this game, he'll post another praise to God or whatever he does on his Twitter. Because the Raiders are going to lose this game. For as bad as the Jags are with Mac Jones, they've been surprisingly putting up a fight in some of these games. They still have more talent. And normally in any other game, I'd say the team with Mac Jones is worse at the quarterback position, but not when you're the Raiders down to your third quarterback as Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
So give me the Jags in this one.
Oh, for the memes, I really want to just have a shit bowl battle and go with the Raiders, but I can't do it. I mean, you're absolutely right. Down to your third quarterback. Is it weird to say that I haven't fully given up on Mac Jones? Is it weird? I feel like that's weird. I still think that he's better than Desmond Ritter at the very least. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. Maybe he'll throw 3 interceptions here, and somehow, if he loses to the Raiders, that's if there wasn't already several nails in his coffin, then that should be the official end to it.
Yeah. I don't know where this belief comes in. I think there's probably been multiple nails in his coffin that it's been thrown in the ground. Every time I cut to red zone, when the Jags are playing, Mac Jones is throwing an interception. It's like, oh, the Jags are driving down the field. Oh, never mind.
Look at
I don't know. He could throw 5
Mac
interceptions.
Jones. He somehow found a way to overthrow. I don't know.
Overthrow everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mac Jones could, although I'm with you on the Mac Jones Desmond Ritter thing. Mac Jones could throw 5 interceptions and Ritter will throw 6.
Yeah.
Definitely the Jags in this one. Less of a tank bowl in this next matchup, more of a disappointment bowl. Both of these teams were kind of at the point where, if you gave me this matchup at the start of the season, I would be pretty happy to say, oh, that's a pretty good game. Maybe this even gets prime time. Yeah. But instead, we're looking at 2 teams with losing records who are more or less out of the playoff race at this point. I don't think the Niners have any path, even though they're not mathematically out. And the Dolphins losing to the Texans, I think, was their last chance. So 2 teams with not a lot to play for other than pride. It's in Miami, which definitely helps Miami in December. I think Tua, I think part of the reason the Dolphins haven't played very well and contributing to that record is the fact that Tua was out for a considerable period of time. Their team has been a lot better since he's gotten back, even if it's still not to the expectation that we had at the start of the season. This Niners team is just looking really bad at this point, and I love it. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm reveling in this. Please, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, give Brock Purdy $60 million a year. I signed a big 49ers fan. I definitely am a 49ers fan. This should happen. Give Brock Purdy $60 million a year so that you can't pay any of your other players. I'm taking the Dolphins in this one, both for joy and logic reasons.
Nope, I'm with you as well. Even just looking at the stats, it kind of backs it up. The 49ers have not been terrific. Tua is healthy as far as I know. I mean, I don't know. This should just be a win for the Dolphins, pretty much without a doubt. Not a lock, but it should be a win. They should win this one.
I think
for sure.
I think it'll be potentially close, but no, the Dolphins have had a lot more promise than the Niners in the last couple of weeks. The Niners have just had the floor fall out on them.
Yeah.
Speaking of a team that had the floor fall out on them, but they're kind of rebounding, I guess. The Cowboys. I mean, they got to a point in their season where they were like definitely kind of in the gutter, but I believe they've won. They've won a considerable amount of their last. So they've won 3 out of their last 4. They kept it close against the Bengals. Needed this like the blocked punt garbage or whatever for Cincinnati to get the win, where the Cowboys touched the punt they blocked again, and the Bengals got a first down. Whatever that was. But that doesn't give me any confidence in the Cowboys against a Bucs team that has just been killing people. It looked not great for them after their injuries in terms of where Mike Evans and Chris Godwin went out, but Mike Evans is back, and I think he put close to 200 yards up on the Chargers as they blew out a genuine playoff team by like 30 points. So yeah, this Bucs team is great. This Cowboys team, even if they've looked better, I'm still not confident in them. I think the Bucs roll in this one.
Yeah, that's the tough thing with these last few ones. I don't think me and you are going to be picking different on many of them. Because, yeah, I'm not picking the Cowboys here. I don't care who's at quarterback. They're not beating the Bucs. I mean, I don't care either if they've won the last 3 of their last 4. It would take a lot for me to pick the Cowboys against any of the top half of the NFL. I just don't have any belief in the team that they've built at this point. I don't know. I think the Bucs are just a far superior team at this point. They still have something to fight for. The Cowboys, as far as I know, don't. To me, this should just be an easy win for the Bucs.
Yeah. We can move on to, oh God, is this the Monday night game? Jesus, NFL. Saints Packers. If you thought the Seahawks got fucked by the Packers on primetime, wait till you see this game. Oh my God. So, I mean, watching that Seahawks-Packers game, I think what was immediately evident to me, and even if I didn't really, process it at the time, I knew the Seahawks had lost from the very first drive. Because you look at that first drive, and I don't think the Packers threw the ball a single time. Maybe once. They maybe threw the ball once. It was all runs to Josh Jacobs up the middle against a rush defense that had been very good, but the Packers just came out and they just dominated and they dictated. The Packers can control a game and control a game's tempo at this point to where they're always one step ahead of the other team. The Saints have some momentum. They kept it close against the Commanders with Darren Rizzi. They're a cute little fun energy team. But especially with Derek Carr out against this juggernaut, give me the Packers.
Yeah, the Packers should win this one. Should be close. I don't think there's any other explanation needed, really. The Saints are just not a comparable football team to the Packers. At this point, the Packers are getting ready to make a run in the playoffs, and the Saints are ready to go play golf or whatever football players do in the offseason. I mean, yeah, especially, I don't think it matters, truthfully, that Carr is out. I think they'd lose with him. I think they're definitely going to lose without him.
Yeah. It's a strange one to not flex out. I wonder why they couldn't do that. That's a little strange to me. I don't really like how this board turned out. We're on the same page on too many of these.
How many of them do we actually have opposite? 1,
3.
2, 3. Is it 3?
I've been keeping track of this.
Oh, have you?
I know exactly how many I need to take the lead back, and it's 3. So I need Houston, I need Philly, and I need Carolina to win.
You need to outright win 2 out of the 3 at least to tie.
Yeah. Well, no, if you win 1 out of the 3, then you still have the lead, because you get 1 at that point.
No, that's not what I mean. Oh wait, no, you are right. Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I need all 3.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I need all 3.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I'm thinking at the point
crappy
this might just come down to the playoffs.
Maybe.
I think it's just going to come down to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Well,
It's
that's
close,
the thing.
though.
I mean,
it's
you've held it for like the entire season, but I mean, it's been close the whole time. I think no matter what, it was going to come down to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's been impressive how close it's been.
Yeah.
Like, I had a decent sized lead at one point, but it didn't last very long.
No. Well, I think you had a lead when the picks were actually tough. Now we're at week 16, where it's games like that. I was gonna pick one out of my ass here, but now Lions and Bears. That's a good example.
Yeah.
Where you look at that one, and it's just like, I'm not picking the Bears. Who do you think I am? Like, no one's gonna pick the Bears. Like, I don't care if you need to throw an upset in to make yourself feel good. Nobody's picking them. Like, that's just not gonna happen. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna get good once the playoffs come around, though. Absolutely, it's gonna be fun.
Yep. Only. So what is this? This is. We got 3 more weeks to pick before the playoffs.
So.
Week 16, 17, 18.
You still got time.
Wow.
You still got time.
I still got time. I can still catch. Just need the Panthers to win.
Yep. No, it can definitely happen.
I got this in the bag.
Yeah. Gotta believe. I don't know what's coming up next. I don't know what's coming up next. If we're staying in football, it's probably going to be Heisman Trophy or Bill Belichick. Make sure to stick around.